Oh, good morning, good afternoon, good late evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be in the world. This is today's conversation, and we're meant to have Enolia with us, and we've just lost her again. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start this for the minute, then we'll let Enolia come in shortly as soon as we can get her back. So, my apologies, but I'm going to say welcome to our beautiful guests, Mandy and Carli. Thank you so was it Dreamcatcher Pod, your podcasts that you do. So welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us. We're so excited to be here.
Yes, thank you so much. We're so excited to have chat with you and Enolia.
And hopefully, folks, she's about to rejoin us. Enolia, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yes.
Excellent. I've just opened.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, and welcome to today's conversation. So happy to have you here with us.
Oh, bless her. She's frozen on us. The universe does like to test us, doesn't it?
I was going to say, technology is not on our side this morning or this evening, wherever you are.
Enolia, I don't know whether you can hear us, but we've lost you, darling. You're going to need to come out and come back in again. Yes. So we can get started, and hopefully Enolia will realise that we've got to get started. And I wasn't expecting to be doing this, so I apologise, folks. A Dreamcatcher adventure. And our dreams are so important, but so many of us don't put any importance on our dreams. So can you, between the two of you, one at a time, can you share a little about how your podcast, to start with, came about? Who wants to start?
Mandy, you can start. You can start.
Jump in? All right.
Yeah.
Well, Carli and I are just so excited to be living out this dream of ours. So thank you so much for making this possible for us and chatting with more people around the world. But the Dreamcatcher podcast started, Carli and I, as some people may not know, I'm originally from Canada. Carli's from Ohio. And a few years ago, we had both moved down to Nashville separately. But we met down in Nashville, and we're living out this dream in Music City. And Carli is an amazing manager. She has helped me on the road. I'm a musician and artist at heart. And so we just had this amazing connection and both wanted to do something to inspire people and to live out their dreams and their hopes. And so we separately had both had ideas to start a podcast. And thankfully, our journeys kind of came together where we're like, let's do this together. And it's been such an amazing journey and what we like to call adventure for us, because through it we've realized, it's not just about having a dream or thinking of a dream. It's actually taking the action and going out and making it happen. Thus, we're not just dream chasing, we're going out and dream catching. So that's what we want to inspire other people around us. And it's been an amazing journey with the Dreamcatcher podcast, as we've been able to interview people all around the world. So yeah, so it's been amazing. And Carli, if you'd like to add.
Absolutely. And honestly, Mandy, our theme song is Dreamcatcher by Mandy McMillan here. And it is to a T, just, us living out our dreams, chasing our dreams. Like, we are dream catchers. And I'm so blessed to have found Mandy. We call each other soul sisters, obviously, because we did meet in Nashville and we have just clicked right away. And us together is better, than us separately. And so for us to be able to come together and inspire others to go out and catch their dreams. And the journey has been so amazing. And another reason why we call it an adventure is because just watching our dreams kind of evolve and shift and change throughout this process as well has been probably the highlight of this experience too. I mean, we've learned so much about ourselves. We've learned so much about others. Every time we interview someone, we always say that we end up more inspired than when we started, and it's been such a blessing this year to have the podcast because of, 2020 and everything kind of being shut down. Like, we were still able to do this, and, thanks to technology and thanks to, being able to reach people all over the place, we stayed inspired this year. Instead of going backwards, we moved forwards, and it's a big thanks to our podcast. So I'm really, really, really happy about it.
Excellent. And Enolia and I have got together last year as well, and we started today's conversation last year. Oh no!
Oh no!
Again. And yes, it is about, for me, it is about when we work together.
Mm-hmm.
That is when we can touch so many more lives.
Mm-hmm.
And the more of us, hi Malathi. Malathi's in Sri Lanka. Hi. So hi, lovely to have you with us. We are having a few glitches, folks, but I'm sure we will get through this, hopefully with Enolia rather than without her.
Yes.
But sort of starting the project, and I've always seen life as an adventure anyway. Well, no, correction, I haven't always seen. Since I woke up to the fact that I was not living my life at all, I've realized that life is an adventure. And it is for us to take that adventure and live it. Yeah, it can be a roller coaster ride. It has its ups and its downs. But somebody said to me once, and it is referred to the downs to a certain degree, you never know when you're being lucky. So some of the worst things that you think have happened to you can actually lead to the best things. That's part of the adventure.
Absolutely.
Of life.
Absolutely.
And can support you to actually, do you know what? It is time to go out and start living my life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And just to add in with that, one of the questions and something that we like to touch on with the people that we interview is we like to ask them, like, what's a big obstacle that you've faced in pursuing your dream? And 9 times out of 10, it's what those people tell us ends up being their greatest catalyst to push them to really do it. If they have an obstacle in their lives, which could be, financial or pressure from outer circumstances or anything, it's usually having that obstacle is what really gives them the momentum to go forward and make their dreams come true. So exactly what you said, Sarah Jane, about kind of having the lows and that obstacle, that's what projects you to, like, go up, and then that's just part of the ride. But yeah, you need those lows and those obstacles to really be able to push forward with determination.
Absolutely. Yeah, sorry, Sarah Jane, did you see that she can't hear us? Okay.
Yeah, I've just asked her if she can hear anything.
Okay.
So because it might, obviously speaking to her isn't going to help if she can't hear anything.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure because I saw it pop up in the chat, and I was like, oh no, I hope people can hear us. Yeah.
The joy is the video of this will. Well, I can't believe that if I'm hearing you, we're not going to hear you on the video. So sort of, so don't worry about that. And this is part of the adventure of life, having these little things happen, and it's how you deal with it. We could get really stressed about this, or okay, Sean says I can hear, so it might be her end, and it. Oh, we've got 3 people in the room now. Brilliant.
Hi, Sean. That's my friend Sean. He said he was going to come and join us.
So hopefully Marthy's gone out and coming back in again. And if you're having glitches, folks, that is the best thing to do, which is what Enolia is trying to do. Get back in and to be with us. So fingers crossed. But yes, it's how we deal with things. especially those tough things, because we can either let them drag us down, or we can help them, they can encourage us to pull ourselves up. Enolia, can you hear us and can you speak to us? Speak to us, please.
Poor Enolia.
I know she's there. I can see her eyes moving, and I can
actually hear you.
Oh, yay.
Yes, just for a moment. And I'm sorry about the technical difficulties, but those can't be controlled. So we do the best that we can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We've been talking, but please, if you have a question, take over.
Yes, I am here, and I don't know if you can hear me, but I am here. The technical difficulties, what can you do?
Oh
no.
Okay, fine. We will carry on. So,
yes,
dreams come in all shapes and sizes, all different types of things within our lives. So what are some of the things that have been your dreams that you've actually said, no, nothing is going to stop me. I am going to go out there and I am going to do that?
Yeah, I think for myself, what brought me or took me to Nashville was my music. And I've been a songwriter, singer, creative ever since I was little. And for me, there were many obstacles that were, in my way in order to get down to Nashville. First off, I am from Canada. So obtaining that work visa, getting down there was a huge thing that I had to go through. But check that off the list. And, of course, I think for me more so, my journey in Nashville wasn't about getting a record deal or really essentially being the big music star that I wanted or thought I would be, but more so about the shift of me learning about myself and what I truly and genuinely want to bring to the world. And that still includes music. And more so now I realize it's using my voice in ways that is best going to reach people, which includes the podcast. It still includes singing. And actually, since our last conversation, Sarah Jane, you would mention light language. And so I've been digging a little bit deeper into that and had many signs come up. So I feel like, to use my voice, it's the dream has kind of evolved into a better portal for spiritual growth and, enlightenment and just growing. So that's where, I still have been pushing with the dream, but it's just shifted along the way to a better purpose. So I love it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always tell people I had a young life crisis. When I went to school for exercise science, and I thought I was going to do physical therapy. But learning, I worked in a therapy office back home, and I worked there for about a year, and I realized I was like, this isn't the path that's meant for me. And, I had told you earlier, Sarah Jane, that I've always been into, writing and poems and songs and music. I just didn't know that could be a career for me. And so I ended up telling my parents, a year after being home from college, I was like, I'm moving to Nashville. And they were like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I want to work in the music industry. I'm moving there. This is my dream. This is my passion, and I'm going to do it. And they were like, okay, all right. If this is what you really want to do, my dad was like, save up X amount of money and you can go. So I saved up my money, went to Nashville on a whim, found a place to live, and I've been here for 5 years. And like Mandy, I think, working in the music industry, I dove right in, but my dream ultimately has shifted and evolved. And now it is similar to Mandy, is I'm using my voice to now help people. And that's what I truly am passionate about. And that's what I've always wanted to do, was help people. That's been a dream of mine since I was younger, but I just want to make a difference in someone's life and be a part of that and be inspiring to others. And so I really have found my voice this past year, And I think that's kind of the path that's meant for me as well, whether it be my writing, whether it be the podcast, whether it be my art, just being creative. I think that's the path I'm on, is where I'm right where I'm supposed to be. So I'm happy with everything.
And it is about finding our voice, isn't it? It is, I spent so many years being a people pleaser, being so afraid of what other people thought about me, and certainly not saying to any sort of degree what I thought, just in case I upset people, sort of. And it is about that. And sort of a number of years ago, it was just like, I don't want to work in insurance. Actually, I would like to do the therapies. And so I jacked my job in. And there are times when we just have to, sometimes the universe really supports you. And I think this is something to really remember. Sometimes we have to let something go. And going back beyond that point of jacking my job in, I'd been in a relationship I shouldn't be in. It was not right for me to be in. So I got out of it. And with it, and first of all, I had the broken jaw, which gave me 6 months in pain and sleepless nights. It was part of my wake-up call. That actually ended up by giving me the courage to get out of the marriage. Then, because I hadn't got the energy to be a people pleaser, to be in a marriage, to work a full-time job. I was studying accountancy at the same time. I hadn't got the energy for all of it because I wasn't getting any sleep. So it was, and that's that. You never know when you're being lucky, because actually it was the greatest gift the universe could have given me, because it gave me the courage to get out of my marriage. In the process, the company I was working for got taken over. So I actually ended up by taking redundancy as well. But in the meantime, I moved away from where I was living, much closer to my family, but not so close that we were all living in each other's pockets. I was really able to start a new life.
Absolutely.
And everything opened up. Suddenly, from taking that step, the universe gave a whole load. There's been a quote I've seen. Somebody said, if the path is easy, you're going in the wrong direction. And I actually disagree with that. If you've taken a step and suddenly the path opens out in front of you, it is because you are going in the right direction, not the wrong direction. If you were going in the wrong direction, you'd have hiccups, you'd have brick walls, you'd have detours, you'd have all sorts. But everything fell into place. I didn't know it was part of the dream, because I didn't have a dream at that stage. But by stepping into that, by freeing myself, the universe brought in more aspects. And that's where the dream can grow. You start with one aspect, and then you can move on as you take each step and you grow.
Absolutely. No, absolutely, Sarah Jane. Exactly what you said there just resonated so much. And that's what Carli and I really are learning along our journey together and individually. But definitely, I think so many people get caught up in this realm that like life has to be hard, and it's not, nothing's happening if you're not fighting for what you want. And I feel like, yes, there's a stance where you need to step forward and you need to, have the guts and the power to go forward with what you want. But if it's resisting, that's not the path that we're intended for. And when we can really start to surrender and lean into what the universe and what our records and what our spirit guides are providing for us, and they're saying, hey, like, you're this way and you're hitting a wall. If you just turn this way and go with that flow there's a life waiting for you that you would never even have imagined, because you're tunnel vision this way. And so exactly like you said, it's letting go of thinking that the resistance is what's making you the fighter to get on the other side. I feel like the resistance in that is making you more bitter. And it's like, it can make you better just by turning a little bit this way, gaining different perspective. And that's when like the gifts start dropping in, and people need to realize that that's the evolvement of the dream and of the adventure, is because it's most likely a path that you didn't really see happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of people just need to not get caught up in this whole thing of fighting for what they want, and instead of flowing for what they want. So exactly what you said there just resonated so much. And that's what Carli and I definitely try to bring to our listeners and our guests that we have on the show.
Absolutely.
Carli.
Yeah. And I mean, that's Mandy and I have found that to be a common theme when we're interviewing, you know, all of our dreamers, that as, you know, when they let go and they kind of surrender to, you know, the path, or they make that big jump, you know, like someone leaves a job to start a restaurant or something, like that's when things open up for them. You know, it's been a common theme that we've seen, and thus has just, inspired us as well, even more. But it's a big thing to surrender. And like Mandy said, when you meet that resistance, like obviously that's not what's meant for you at that moment, you know, and you need to figure out, okay, like let's try this. Where am I meant to go? Like listen to the signs and listen to your heart. And then you'll come out on top, because honestly, you'll be happier and you'll be on the right way to where you're supposed to go. So, I mean, we like to tell people that too, even just in conversation, like that's just a big common theme. And it's hard for people to do, though. It's hard for people to let go of that control. And along with that book I told you I was reading right now, The Surrender Experiment, I mean, I think me and Mandy have been really, really good at letting go of the, you know, surrendering, especially this year, but it's still hard. So it's like, it's a process. It's a work. You have to work on it just like anything else. But then you see what, you know, you live every day as if it is a miracle for you. And then, you know, it starts to become that miracle for you. And you start to trust the process, like you said. So it's all about learning and growing every day. But, you know, common theme is surrender. So that's all we can hope to help people with.
And one of the things that is also said is, if you wait for the time to be perfect, you'll never start. And it is so important. You know, when I set up Gift of Healing TV, which we've created this as part of, when I set that up, I was being told, oh, you need to have this in place, that in place, the other in the place. I got the platform that I could use, Webinar Jam, which we're using for this, and I'm still using to this day. And I've got people I could go to say, would you like to be a guest? So I've got all that. I hadn't got a website for it, but I created a web page on my own personal website till I could get that sorted. It was just like, no, I don't have to have everything in place, because if I wait for that, it's just not going to happen. I had the important elements. The ability to be able to do it.
Yes.
And the will to start.
Yeah.
And so I went for it. And it's been going for over 6 years.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. So you do it. I left that job and I just got on with it. How the heck I've survived the last 15 plus years, I have no idea. But I'm still here. I don't need masses. I'm not money orientated, never have been. But I have enough. Yeah, if you've got bigger dreams, go for the bigger dreams. But don't be afraid to start small.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But don't be afraid to have the big dream and work towards it.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. No, I love that you said just start, because Mandy and I have had so many people. I know you're thinking the same thing I am, Mandy, but we've had so many people be like, oh, you have a podcast. That's so amazing. Like, I've always wanted to start a podcast. And we're like, do it. Mandy and I had this dream, had this vision. Like you said, we didn't have everything in order. Our first couple episodes did not sound best, but it's been an amazing adventure, learning process that we've been able to gather all these things over time. But you know what? If we didn't start it, we would have never gathered those things and had these experiences that we've had. And that's what we tell everybody. We're like, you just have to go out and do it. Like, you can't keep talking about it. You have to do it. And then you'll figure the rest out later, you know? And like we said, it's been one of the best experiences of our life. So had we never started, we never would have been here, you know?
Yeah.
So.
No, absolutely. And yeah, Carli, you're so spot on with that. And we kind of like, we've had this aha moment as well. And what I like to kind of call the 80-20, you know, the 80-20 rule. And I think we both just had this conversation not long ago where it's like, you know, so many people wait for that perfect moment, or they want everything to be just so perfect. And it's like, and they're waiting until they're at 100%, you know, to launch something or to take those steps. And you're never going to be at 100. So that's why a lot of these projects don't get off the ground, or a lot of these dreams don't happen. And I truly believe in this rule of 80-20. You go 80%. At 80%, you still have a very successful foundation for what you want to create, you know? And with our podcast, that 80% included having the dream, having the guts to, you know, to know that we were still going to learn along the way. But you're going in there and you have the foundation, and you're allowing that 20% to come to you to evolve in that space. You know, it's kind of like if you're aiming to launch at 100 and say you do, there's no room for improvement, because you've already thought, well, I'm perfect. This is the way it is. And if it doesn't turn out exactly how you anticipated, or, you know, you become the #1 podcast on Apple Podcasts that day, then there's this expectation. But when we come in and we're like, you know what, you come in at 80% and you got that 20% to improve and to learn and to shift along the way. So that's what we truly believe in, that, and try to guide the people around us as well to know that, like, you know, take the steps, get a microphone, you know, get your laptop, learn a little bit about it, get yourself like that 80% there, and then just allow the universe to come in and tell you how you're supposed to fulfill the rest of the way. Yeah.
Press record. Go
after it. Yeah. Just start talking.
Press record. That's it.
But it's not just about the way we live our life, it's the experiences we have in life. You know, I was always so afraid to do anything for fear of what other people thought. But when I started to say, okay, fine, I stepped out of my comfort zone. And the comfort zone was very uncomfortable, which is why I got out of it.
Yes.
And I think you have to realize that, how uncomfortable your comfort zone got to get for you to step outside of it. And other than leaving my marriage, one of the first things I did was become a member at the UK Wolf Conservation Trust. And as a member of the trust, you could go for a walk with the wolves. And so you could get to meet the wolves up close and personal. I not only became a member of the trust, I became a trainee handler with the trust.
Gosh.
And through the trust, I learned about a project, a trip to Romania, to track wolves and lynx in the Carpathian Mountains with the Carpathian Large Carnivore Project. So this was tracking, not killing. I wouldn't have anything to do with killing. Please let me make that very, very clear. I adore wolves. I really do. And we all have a guardian wolf, but I'm just going to move on from that. So what are you doing in your life? What other experiences, other than fulfilling your life with the work that is your life's work, that is your sole purpose? And as you step into those different things, those different experiences, and your own healing journey, you can really find where you feel your life should be going. So it's about the experiences that you then give yourself permission to have, as well as, and which are one-offs, as well as the life things, the moving on with your life and going in different directions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
go
Mandy,
ahead,
I mean, it's fun. No, I feel like we've just, everything that we're talking about is everything that we wanted to talk about, and it's just being brought up naturally. And I love that, you know. But yeah, just, you know, talking about soul's purpose and just enjoying life and everything, like that is at the end of the day, the most important thing. And Mandy and I have talked about that, is finding that spark for life, you know, and enjoying every experience that you have along the way of finding your purpose, you know, and that's what, I mean, we try to live every day to the fullest, you know, try to have as many experiences as we can, and just truly, you know, enjoy being alive, you know, and then it's like along that process is going after our dreams, you know, finding our truths and living, you know, living in our truths is part of being a part of being of that spark, you know. And Mandy, I know you might want to say a little bit more about that as well.
Yeah, well, like Carli, you said it perfectly, but it's like even with Carli and I's adventure, and like you said, Sarah Jane, just kind of opening up to allowing these opportunities and telling universe that you're ready for these adventures. And a hard one for me over this past year was, you know, obviously I lived down in Nashville for 9 years. And last year at this time, about when the world was shifting and we kind of went down into lockdown mode. So it's funny because I did a card spread one night, and there was a sign in there that told me I was to go north. And north for me was back to Canada. And I was like, nope. I'm not ready. Like, I'll be open to it, but I'm not ready right now. So I sat with it and I stayed in Nashville for a bit. But as the months kind of went on, it became apparent to me that there needed to be that shift, and that was going to be happening regardless if I wanted it or not. But that led Carli and I into this adventure that we didn't dream about before, but it got us. We packed up my Jeep in Nashville, Tennessee. We drove to Denver, Colorado. We had an amazing experience, meeting people along the way, seeing friends, experiencing hiking in the mountains, which just created more of an adventure sense for us. We then traveled north to Bozeman, Montana, where we had an amazing time again, hiking, experiencing there, obviously everything within a safe way due to the pandemic, but we had to get me back north to Canada, and we just had this amazing adventure, and it really truly blossomed what we mean when we truly say dream catcher adventure, and just traveling across the states and creating these memories. And then even where our podcast now is, you know, Carli being in Nashville and me being in Canada, we've been able to make this happen. Like, where there's a will, there's always a way. But I really do believe it just is opening up yourself and your portal to tell the universe that you're ready for these adventures no matter what, and then trusting them and going. And man, I'm going to open up now that I want to be around some wolves as well.
Yeah.
So that sounds like such a beautiful experience.
Absolutely.
So,
and I just want to add on to that too, because I forgot to say it before, but one of the biggest things too is like, you know, Mandy, you pulled those cards for you, and it was like, you're going to go back up north, and you said you weren't ready at the time, but it's because you weren't ready to let go. And we've talked about this of some unrealistic expectations that you had for yourself down in Nashville. And that's been a big thing too, is letting go of those unrealistic expectations, which is another, you know, common theme that we've seen with our interviewees. And, you know, it's like, once they've let go of those expectations, they started to live life, you know, like live life fully and appreciate where they are in their lives, instead of being like, I need to get to this. No, like, this is, your dream is happening right now. Enjoy it. Like, there's not always a next step, you know, let it kind of flow where it's meant to go. And I think that's been one of the biggest things, is letting go of those expectations for us, which is, you know, created all these other opportunities. Yeah.
Have the dream, work, put action in to helping that dream happen. But don't make it the be all and end all. Have the passion for it, but continue to have your passion for life and other experiences. There's the saying, and I never remember sayings perfectly, but God always has 3 answers. Yes, not now. I have something better for you. If the answer isn't yes, it might mean there's still something else for you to experience, for you to be able to take that next step. And you will then be able to take it so much more perfectly. And it's also about what is perfection. Oh, let's get rid of this word, shall we? Perfection it holds so many people back. Everything is perfect. Everything in perfect and divine and perfect order right now. Even if something feels like a mistake, it's not. It's a stepping stone. It's a learning curve. Take it for that. So live your life. One of the things I've done over the last few years is I would like to have a brand new experience, at least one every year. So not only did I fly in a helicopter, I flew it. Yes. I did a mile-long zip wire. I've done a wing walk, so you're strapped to the wings of a plane and the plane takes off. You know, have adventures in your life. Do something. I would never ever do a bungee jump. Don't ask. Never. But I have abseiled. So, but then I've also done something as simple as going and having a pottery lesson where I've actually been able to create some little pots.
Yes.
You know, it hasn't got as huge as some of those things I've done because I've done the little things. You know, the other year I'd never been kayaking before, so I went kayaking. It hasn't got to be huge. It's just allow yourself to have the experiences of the things that I love the outdoors. So I've climbed Ben Nevis, which is the highest mountain in Scotland. Ben Nevis in Scotland, Snowdon in Wales, and Scafell Pike in England. I've done all three of those, not in 24 hours, not even in 3 days, but I've done them. And it's being able to say to yourself, look at what I have achieved in my life. So maybe a good place to start is make that list of your achievements to boost the fact, sure, I can do this.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Oh my gosh. I could listen to you just chat all day, Sarah Jane. You're just so beautiful.
Yes.
And your guidance and amazing for your adventures. And like you said, it's giving yourself permission and then also giving the universe and the world around you permission to give these opportunities. And just to say, hey, I'm ready for this. It's actually really funny. I kind of got to show you this because it's just peeking at me. I have this little snow globe that I kind of like to say is my like crystal ball. So bad. But every day I wake up and for the past year and a bit, I wake up and it's on my desk and I just shake it and I just say, I'm ready for miracles. I'm ready for adventure. I'm ready for magic. And it's just giving the universe that signal to say, you know, it's, hey, I'm ready to accept this. And I want the adventure. I want the dream. I want to expand, evolve. And through you doing those amazing little things and big things, It's made you just even more of a brighter package in a sense of how you can glow and gleam because you've overcome these little obstacles or taken those steps forward to do something that, you know, maybe in the past you didn't think you could do. And that's just beautiful. It opens up the dream and perspective so much more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like you said, Sarah Jane, I think it's so important to look back and see exactly how far you've come, you know, because not many people take the opportunity to be like, hey, I've done all these things already. Like, look at how amazing these things that I have done are, even if it's the little things. It's like appreciating yourself, appreciating all the work you've done. And like Mandy said, like every day I make sure to say, thank you for my past blessings. Thank you for my present blessings. And thank you for my future blessings, because I am ready to receive all the blessings. I'm appreciative of the blessings I've already had and grateful and thankful. And that's just another thing too, is we need to appreciate what we have in this life so that we can go find more of these experiences and not find them, have them come to us, like you said, and just appreciate them that much more. So I love that.
And it is about the adventure, a dream catcher adventure. It is realizing that life is an adventure and it's meant to be a fun adventure. And you can still find fun in the tough stuff.
Absolutely.
It might be harder to find, or it might take some months to realize. But it was like going back to that time where I sort of said, okay, end of the marriage. I had no idea. And I did it. I had no idea where I'd be sleeping that night or anything. It was taken care of. Then to find that the company I was working for I was going to get made redundant. I didn't want to be working there anyway, so that was fine. Yeah. Getting relocated with the new company temporarily, and having practically already moved to the area I'm in now, and then being able to take redundancy, and they practically paid for the move anyway without realizing it. They didn't pay for the buying of my little house, but everything fell into place. And when I took the redundancy, within 6 days, I was back in a full-time job. And that was 6 days over an Easter period. So that was like bank holiday. So these things, and it was, I had the courage that I'd never had and never shown in my life. And that is the gift the universe gave me for having the courage to get out of where I shouldn't be anymore.
Absolutely.
Love that.
Wow. I'm so glad that you brought that back up again, this story, Sarah Jane, and this point, because I think too, it's a really important thing for people to realize, like, sometimes we can, we're sitting in our lives, even if we're working a job that we're not really happy with, or we're in a relationship that, we're kind of, starting to think like this is probably not the best place to be. But a lot of people get stuck in these comfort zones. And what we need to realize is that the universe knows what's best for us. It genuinely does. And so it's going to throw curveballs at you until you make those shifts to get out of these situations. But I think a lot of people will kind of sit there and they're in a job and they're like, well, I wish I could do something else. And I really, I do have a dream of going this way, but there's security where I'm at and this kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, the job, they get let go from a job. And where a lot of people kind of sit in that and they're like, they start to panic and they start to, what's happening? I just got fired, like, all this stuff. And it's like, hey, don't you remember you kind of asked for this, and now the universe is giving you the best gift in the world to pursue and to put energy towards what you're really meant to do. So I think a lot of people need to, and I think more people are waking up to it now, but to really realize that when that relationship ends, or pulling yourself out of that, it's not a bad thing. When the job ends, it's not a bad thing. The universe is just redirecting you to where you're genuinely supposed to be, and take that and just start trekking that way. Like, that's where you're meant to go. So yeah, it's just a lot of people letting go of that control. And I guess our theme for kind of this conversation is surrendering and, being like, I'm ready, and going with that. Because I know definitely I've been down that path in relationships, saying that, ooh, that speaks tenfold, So yeah.
Mandy, do you want to add to that?
Oh no, I'm totally. I think that was a great response. Yeah, I don't have anything to add to
that. Okay. So the thing that always comes to mind is Neil Donald Walsh of Conversations with God. Perhaps when everything is falling apart, what it is actually doing is falling together.
Absolutely.
And you've only got to listen to so many of the people out there today that are interviewed, that have do different things. Their lives have fallen apart in one way or another. Ill health, bankruptcy, etc. They've been so, and Neil himself is one of those people. Things have absolutely gone rock bottom. But there's also another saying along the lines of, when you hit that, you can then pick up the pieces you wish to take with you and leave the rest behind.
Absolutely.
And I think that is what it is, for learning to forget everything we've been taught from childhood.
Yes.
And then realigning ourselves with what feels right for us.
Yeah.
It's about the feeling, not what goes on here. How many times, oh, I'd love to do that. And before you can go any further, what about this? What about that? What about the other? And you've talked yourself out of it, but you felt it. And then your head's got in the way.
Mm-hmm.
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 Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's a big sense of getting out of your head and falling into that feeling and making it happen and using that feeling to magnetize the experience towards you. Because that's just right. If you sit in your head with a lot of these things, that's the the polar opposite thing,
Yeah.
and just it's kind of going with your heart and allowing these experiences to be pulled towards you and thinking like, it would feel good to do this and to lean into that dream and to make that happen. And it's like, allow that to be magnetized towards you. Let go of these past restrictions and chains that have been put on our minds. That's not the life we want to live. We want to live with feel and pull and going towards the what is amazing and for a good adventure and experience.
Absolutely. And ultimately we are in charge of our own happiness. And a lot of times, like I, especially recently and getting into my more spiritual side and being kind of living on a higher plane, it's hard for me to listen to people complain about a situation that they are keeping themselves in, and for me, it's like, you gotta, we kind of have to try to silence this sometimes and go after this. And, it's like, I hate my job. I hate this. You have the ability to change that, like you're not stuck. I know it's scary. I know, it's unknown. It's everything, but we all have the ability to make ourselves happy. And we are the only ones who know what truly makes us happy, what makes us tick, what we're passionate about. And that's where we have to step out of this mindset and step into this. So it's hard and it's difficult for people, but that's what I've learned to say is, you are in charge of making yourself happy. If you don't like what you're doing, if you don't like who you're with, if you don't like your relationships, if you don't, if you're not getting that pure joy from your environments, like change them,
Yeah.
And that's hard for people to do, but it's a thing that I've learned and, been able to kind of pull back and say to myself, what do I actually want? Is this serving me right now? No, let's change it. So just kind of being aware of that. But
it's also being aware that with our mind, our ego, its first initial role, its role when we were born was to protect us.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is we have never changed its role.
Very true. Yeah.
No, we have, do we ever say, thank you for helping me to learn how to be safe, for the protection you gave me as a child as I was growing and learning and experiencing. However, I am now an adult.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to promote you. I would like to promote you to the assistant to my heart, the personal assistant to my heart, helping to make my heart choices happen. You still have an element of that keep safe role.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But your main role, so it's the gratitude to mind and ego.
Mm-hmm.
And encouraging it. So it's catching your thoughts. Affirmations can be wonderful and they do work for some people, they don't for others, but you do have to repeat them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things, now if I'd say this every day and I have to remember, thank you for the love in my heart, for a mind and an ego that works with my heart, helping me to make my heart choices happen.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, wow.
But
absolutely.
This is, and don't get cross with yourself. Get into a habit of praising yourself. And even if, oh mind, where are you going? Come on, you can do better than this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Are you really happy when you're doing this? And you ask the questions. Because one thing we've learned, getting cross and angry and shouting and getting bitter and whatever doesn't work, doesn't make us happy.
Nope.
But you've got to realize that the mind and the ego's role has never been changed. And it's the same as looking at other people's lives. The comment you made sort of just now, Carli, about people who are still obviously struggling in the third dimension. You know, our hearts go out to them, but we have no idea what their whole story is.
Right.
And have they got to the stage where their comfort zone is so uncomfortable? I likened mine and my ex-husband's to being in parallel. His was lined with rose petals, mine was lined with rose thorns, and I wasn't having it anymore.
Absolutely.
How uncomfortable have people's lives got to get? All we can do is share our thoughts, our wisdom, mostly our experiences. And when we share those, someday, even if they have only just about heard what we've said, someday somebody else will say something and it will spark. And it's, yes, now it is time. But if we never speak, so it is being in that place of understanding with our own mind, ego, and the things that have gone on with our lives, and realizing everybody's life is slightly different, and their reaction to what has happened is going to be, their reaction is different.
Absolutely.
You can look at someone's like, I would never have done that. Yeah, but that's my mind. That's my heart. That's my journey. That's not theirs. So if what we share here supports people to say, yes, I now have that courage, that first step. Not a huge leap. You know, you haven't got to go jumping a gorge or anything. You know, so, you know, find the bridge and take the first step.
Yes. But that's what we've hoped to do with the podcast. You know, like me and Mandy said from the beginning, even if we just reach one person, if we change one person's life, or if we help encourage them to move forward, you know, with their dreams and their spark, then, you know, this is why we started in the first place, you know, and that's our dream. That's our goal, is to help people through our experiences and through the experiences of the people that we interview. And, you know, hopefully we can be sparking lights all over the place, you know, for people. And that's what we're setting out to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful. We will come to, obviously, I'm taking it Enolia has given up. Bless her. And I am so sorry she wasn't here. Universe has its own reasons for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But it has been an absolute pleasure. But before we go, I'm sure I have actually shared the link to the podcast on the website, and I will make sure I'll share it underneath the video as well. For anybody that's if you're watching the video, then please, it should be under that if you're watching on my YouTube channel. I will. Do you want to share, though, the link, or share how people can get in touch or find the podcast?
Yeah, the best ways to reach us are we're very active on our Instagrams, so it's at DreamCatcherPod, and same thing with Facebook. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you can listen to podcasts. That's where we're available, and you just have to look up Dreamcatcher Pod. And then that'll take you right there. We also have our website, which is www.dreamcatcherpod.com. And so we have all the links on there for people to connect with us and to listen.
And I hope they will. And thank you so much for joining us. Now, in less than 2 weeks' time, on the 24th, Light Language and More. We're going to be doing a second program on light language. Hopefully, Enolia will be with us. But we're being joined by Chessie Roberts and Julia Stubbe, who both speak light language in their own unique way. So I hope people will join us for that. Thank you, ladies. It has been an absolute pleasure to share this space with you. And I hope, and and the minute I stop this, we're all going to be kicked out the room. So I can't say thank you afterwards. So I'm saying thank you now. Thank you, folks. And I hope that you've enjoyed this program, that it's really supported you, because that's, for me, what all of these things are about, is helping people to step into their own power, their own path, their own journey, their own adventure.
Yes, thank you so much, Sarah Jane. This has been amazing. Thank you for allowing us to share this platform with you, and for allowing us to reach more people. And we look forward to being your lifelong friend as well as Enolia. So nice to meet you, and thank you for everything.
Thank you, Sarah Jane. Mandy and Carli. It's been an absolute pleasure. See you again soon. Bye, folks. Take care. Be safe. Stay well. Namaste.